near the mouth of the Altamaha River in southeastern Georgia, is said to be the home of a giant watery cryptid. Called the Altamaha-Ha for the river, or Alti for short, the legend goes way back beyond British and English colonization and is said to have originated with the lower Muskogee Creek tribe. Second only to the Mississippi River, it has one of the largest river basins in the country. It also empties out into the Atlantic Ocean and happens to be one of the largest rivers in the state of Georgia. Extending about 137 miles, it joins with three major tributaries, that of the Ocmulgee and Oconee rivers near Lumberton City, and joined further downriver by the Hoopee River. It empties out into the Altamaha Sound above Brunswick, where it is joined by the Darien, Butler, and Champney rivers, before making its wide way to the ocean. The river area, located primarily in McIntosh and Glenn counties along the Atlantic coast, is not comprised of beaches, but rather is made up of many islands, acres of marshes, dikes, canals, ponds, and old rice fields. The Altamaha-Ha is said to inhabit the myriad of small streams and twisting channels of the river and adjacent marshes, particularly around Darien, Butler Island, and elsewhere in the McIntosh County. The strange cryptid is described as having a sturgeon-like body, including a bony ridge on its top. With front flippers and no back limbs, it swims like a dolphin, and has the snout of a crocodile, with large protruding eyes and large sharp teeth. Its coloring is said to be gray or green, with a whitish-yellow underbelly. Reports suggest that it is 20 to 30 feet long, though some have stated seeing smaller or larger creatures, suggesting that the Altamaha-Ha is not alone. The region where the Altamaha-Ha is usually seen is a beautiful and mysterious estuary, known for its vast marshes, multiple river channels, and abandoned 18th and 19th century rice fields and canals. It seems appropriate that the beastie inhabits the waters around Darien, a town funded by Scott Highlanders from the shores of Loch Ness in Scotland. Original settlers were recruited in 1735 at Inverness, Scotland, a city known for sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. The Highlanders even called their settlement New Inverness before changing the name to Darien. The exact nature of the Altamaha-Ha is as mysterious as the domain in which it lives. Some, of course, say it's nothing but floating logs, masses of vegetation, or known marine creatures. Believers, however, tell of a 30-foot-long animal with flippers like a seal. The monster made its splash on the national scene in 1981, when a former newspaper publisher named Larry Gwynn reported seeing the creature while fishing with his friend, Steve Wilson. They said it had two big humps about 5 feet apart and left behind a wake like that of a speedboat. When newspapers across the country ran stories about the sighting, other witnesses began to come forward. Harvey Blackman of Brunswick, for example, said he had seen the creature in the 70s. He said it had a snake-like head and was 15 to 20 feet long, and that he said he had seen it at a point called Two Way on the Altamaha River. Other eyewitness, Frank Culpepper, saw its wake in the same area. He said it left behind a billow of water so big that it caused boats to bump about. One of the men with him ran for a rifle, but it was gone before he could get off a shot. The reports in 1981 followed much publicity about the Loch Ness Monster, a fact that raised the eyebrows of the skeptical. It was not, however, the first time the Altamaha had made the news. In fact, a correspondent of the Savannah, Georgian newspaper reported multiple sightings of the sea monster on the Georgia coast in a dispatch datelined in Darien on April 18, 1830. The primary eyewitness was a Captain Delano of the schooner Eagle, who saw a monster off St. Simon's Island below the mouth of the Altamaha. He repeated the particulars precisely, describing the animal he saw as being about 70 feet long, and its circumference about that of a sugar hogshead, moving with its head, shaped like an alligator's, about 8 feet out of the water. Savannah, Georgian, April 22, 1830. For those not familiar with the term hogshead, it's a large barrel or cask. Like the sightings reported in 1981 or the 1830 appearance of the monster, it was verified by others. 5 men on the schooner also saw it, and a number of planters from St. Simon's Island told the correspondent that they had seen something strange as well. It appeared in St. Simon's Sound that year, and was viewed through telescopes over a period of several weeks. Other eyewitnesses proclaimed the creature seen in St. Simon's Sound to be a whale, but no one could say for sure whether it was the same creature seen by Captain Delano. The captain, however, was clear that he had not seen a whale. Captain D also states that he is acquainted with all kinds of whale, and that he never saw but once before, about 4 years since, off Doughboy Bar, a monster similar to the one above described. Charleston Mercury, March 29, 1830. Doughboy Sound, the site of Delano's earlier sighting, separates Sapelo Island from the mainland and connects to the Altamaha River. Sea serpents seem to have been part of the lexicon of people around Darien well before 1830. In 1826, one of the sloops that sailed from the wharfs there was named the Sea Serpent. The sightings of the monster in the early 1800s confirm that people have been seeing something strange in the waters around the mouth of the Altamaha River for a long time. Tradition holds that the Tama Indians who lived up the Altamaha had legends of a giant snake-like creature that lived in the river. No documentation has been found to verify this claim, but the Creek Indians of Georgia definitely told stories of giant snakes in the rivers of their territory to early explorers who recorded the legends. Sightings of the Altamaha-Ha continue to this day, with people ranging from timber workers to Boy Scouts claiming to have seen it. In 2010, an amateur photographer captured video of something strange swimming in the channel off Fort King George Historic Site in Darien. But as many cryptids have a habit of doing in today's age, something was sighted in March of 2018 and was caught on camera as well, but it turned out to have much more negative connotations because it was a hoax. A supposed creature washed up on the shore near Darien. It had a long neck, flippers, and its guts spilling out onto the sand. There was video taken of it, but experts couldn't go by video alone to identify what sort of creature it was. The unidentifiable corpse apparently was a taxidermied shark with added papier-mâché elements left on the shore at the order of Zardulu, a New York-based artist and self-identified mythmaker who staged various viral hoaxes like the three-eyed catfish in the Gowanus Canal and the raccoon who hitched a ride on an alligator, was also suspected of orchestrating Pizza Rat as well, and according to the artist, wasn't just an attempt to shock people. He explained that it was a recreation of the sea creature Katos, who Heracles sliced open with a fishhook, and he decided what better place to showcase the work than in a region already plagued by legends of its own sea monster. Although many theories have been offered over the years as to what the Altamaha-Ha could be, they all remain unproven, and maybe that's a good thing. It is kind of fun having your own sea serpent lingering around, and Darien sure makes the most of it. Images of the creature can be seen all over the place in the community, and it's not uncommon to see tourists out there with binoculars, telescopes, and cameras on the waterfront, hoping to catch a glimpse of their own sea monster. Whether sea serpent or sturgeon or just a myth, something's out there, and it's just waiting to be proven. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below what you think the Altamaha is. And don't forget to keep an eye out for another episode of The Unknown Files, coming soon here on Unknown Territory.